They will start joining us again. Even if they don't join us too much, we're gonna save it anyway. So it's going to go on YouTube everywhere. And let me check if we are live. I think we are live at the moment, but let's see.
Oh, how do you know? It says you're in the
Is
show.
it?
Everyone can see and hear you.
Okay, all right. So we are live now. Hello, good evening, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. This is Uygar from AOP with my friends. This is my kitchen, as usual, my broadcasting place. And it's a beautiful Friday. I'm not drinking because I'm busy with talking to my friends from America. We have David here, Matt here, and Paul here. Hi, guys.
Hey, guys.
How are you?
All wearing black shirts.
That's it,
American style.
Is it fashion or something like that? Is it make you look cool?
Sometimes.
It does.
Maybe it slims you out a little bit too.
Only Matt's cool though, because he's got the hat on.
Okay, all right. Guys, today we're gonna talk with David. David, I know him. How long I know you, David? 2-3 years?
I'd say 3 years. A little more than 3 years.
He's a friend. Also, he's a AOP Plus user, and he has a couple of different brands. And we're going to talk about that as well. But mainly, we're going to talk about they started a project when the pandemic started called Cover My Mouth, and they designed a website just to sell Facebook face masks, and they focus only on fashion masks, and they build a really good system over there. They would like to share with us, which is great. And I know that there are lots of users and the Facebook group members. They're always asking for the new ideas, how to increase their sales, especially about the masks. So tonight we're gonna talk about that. Shall we start, David?
Absolutely. So, like Edgar said, we've been working together for a little over 3 years with one of our brands, which is dragqueenmerch.com, using AOP for pretty much all of their key POD items. And quite successfully. I know people see me always posting on Facebook as an advocate, and really for no other reason other than I've worked with pretty much all of the major POD suppliers, and there are no others like AOP when it comes to consistency, quality, customer service answering, and I guess just the overall flexibility that you don't get in a giant print-on-demand supplier. I know I'm always quick to debate people when they say they're not getting a reply or something isn't perfect. Nothing will be perfect ever. My son Zach, who's not on this, he and I built a real brand with Drag Queen Merch over the last 5 years. It's a very high volume brand. It's not just online. We're in retail stores, and part of manufacturing is just getting used to the fact that everything will not be perfect at all times. So when the pandemic hit, and Matt and Paul started working with us prior to the pandemic, we knew everybody wanted face masks. I'm also in the apparel industry separate of the e-commerce business, and all our customers wanted face masks. None of us wanted to jump on the trend of face masks unless we were doing something right, meaning good quality, working with charities, and making sure the product we were shipping wasn't just complete garbage. So worked with Edgar to make sure that we had something that would work for us and for all his users. And from there, that's kind of where we started. The Matt and Paul, they have a branding background, and we looked at this right away as a larger scale opportunity than just throwing an extra POD item on an existing website. So we created covermymouth.com and started out, I don't know, Paul, how many styles did we start out with in the beginning?
I think we only started out with about 200 or so.
Yeah, I mean, now currently we're probably close to 200 designs, and now we're probably close to what, 2,000 designs?
Yeah, we're probably almost over 2,000, I bet. Yeah, I think that the important part was that, you could pretty much, especially with print on demand, you can put as many designs as you want, right? There's not really, that's the beauty of it, is that there's not really a risk to put another product design up. So I think for us, it was like, okay, great, we have 200 designs, and I think as we include more, we wanted to understand also what are people looking for. That's kind of where we've been kind of moving forward with that, and now we're pretty much a bit over 2,000.
One of the things we wanted to do from the beginning was make sure that the name itself would be quickly looked upon as a real brand within a new category, feeling like there was a lot of room. I looked at face masks like socks. I looked at brands like Stance socks, and Happy Socks that started with a very small business and became massive and became the name in the sock category. This is really the first new category we've all dealt with. I mean, really that I can think of that wasn't just a metamorphosis of like T-shirts moving into tie-dyes or moving into washes. This was a new category that nobody had ever dealt with. In Asia, of course, they've been wearing masks, but they don't wear fashion masks like this, not printed masks. So immediately trademarked the name. We didn't think about knew we wanted to do custom packaging. There was a time frame involved in that. So we just started off easy by using the bags that you provide, but we went and made stickers. We sent you stickers, and you put the brand logo sticker across the front of this. So at least when the customer received this right away, they go, oh, covermymouth.com, just to try to get the name going a little bit. Brandon. We immediately, this is actually our second version. We created actual real packaging, which seems really crazy and hard to do, but it's actually not. I mean, anybody watching this can go on to Alibaba.com and research packaging, and you'll find companies that can do this for you.
Most common question is, most of our users, they always focus on small quantities. Obviously, to import something from China, you need some big quantities. This is what we always think. How did you sort it out? How did you find out the supplier? And did you order big quantities at the beginning?
So basically,
they can start with some small numbers.
It's a great question. So basically, kind of two parts to that. One, you obviously don't want to be way over ordering to begin with. You want to kind of pace the sales demand with your materials and supplies, packaging included in that. But then two, with something like packaging specifically, it can get very affordable with decent quantities. So it might sound crazy to say buy 1,000 or buy 5,000, but when they end up being a couple pennies each, it's kind of a different dynamic. So I think if you're cognizant of kind of what you think you can drive volume wise, and you're willing to take a little bit of a bet, you can get a very good value for, packaging specifically.
And knowing that everybody has different budgets and different backgrounds, and I even your users in the Facebook group, I feel, and there's a handful of them that I've become very friendly with that I have conversations with separately. I think that people, and I think your group has an interesting dynamic, because the people, for the most part, that comment in there don't mind sharing information. They don't feel like they're direct competitors and they have to be, very private about everything. I mean, even if you felt like you couldn't afford your own packaging, personally, I would see nothing wrong with strategically partnering with a couple of other people in the group and just come up with a brand on your own, and y'all share it on your own on each of your websites, and share in the expense of the packaging. Maybe it's just generic packaging and it doesn't have a brand on it, but it's just nicer packaging and it says fashion.
That's a good idea.
Fashion face mask. You also can go on Alibaba and buy packaging like this that already exists without a custom logo, and it just says fashion face mask on it. Then you can go and order your own stickers, whether it's from Vistaprint or the European online printer. Literally costs you pennies.
Nothing.
Send them to your company, and if they have a hero membership, you can add the sticker onto the front of the package.
Exactly.
It's all about being creative, right? It's all about, not worrying about, I'm so small, I don't have any money. People are always talking about how they don't have the budget, they're going to start off really small. You can start off small. It's all about being creative. And the only limitation really, especially with print on demand for somebody's growth, is their own lack of creativity. And if you don't have a lot of your own creativity, talk to other people, strategically partner with people. That's what we do, and I think that's really important. But for us, we started out with the brand. Our goal was, it's a brand. People are going to know the name, and we're going to build a repeat clientele. And we're already thinking 3 steps ahead of what else do we do with this name after face masks.
And I think that's a great filter, actually, David, because that is one of the things as we were launching this and setting this up, we talked about, kind of extensively. We didn't want it to be Redbubble. We didn't want it to be Teespring. We didn't want it to be just endless stuff, right? So whether that is how we curate it, whether that is how we, the product descriptions on the product detail pages, certainly that's reflected in our marketing and our packaging. But if you use that filter of wanting it to be a brand experience versus just an on-demand experience, I think you kind of naturally get to a pretty good place on a lot of these types of questions.
Yeah, and you know, so we started there. We started with the retail online, trying to get some organic sales at first. Of course, nobody knows about the website, so that's not that easy. So what's your next path? That the most common thing I see people post is, help, I'm trying to do Facebook advertising. I have a budget of $5 or $10 a day, and I can't get my ads approved, or I'm not getting anybody watching. Facebook advertising for us has been a big help in terms of our volume and our growth of customer base, but we've also set a pretty large budget for it. If you don't have that budget, I don't think Facebook advertising is where you start. I mean, really, the cheapest form of advertising is getting your product to people, whether it's through your own friends and family or just influencer marketing. You know, I think you know, go make 20 masks and send them to 20 of your friends that have a good Facebook following and say, can you please post on your Facebook?
This is how you started. Also, you guys do very good with influencers as well. Would you like to talk about it a tiny bit?
Yeah, I'm going to go there. So, I mean, but if you don't have those initial relationships, spend $100, make 20 masks and send them to your friends and family and ask them to post on their Facebook and Instagram, and they're micro influencers, and they do a nice video, and you'll just gotta start getting traffic. But you know, we do have some influencer relationships, but really the ones driving volume on the covermymouth.com, really we hadn't worked with them before in this capacity at all. And it really was just about, we reached out to them. We have one who's a food influencer. She does nothing but go to restaurants and bars and get given lots of great free meals, and she posts about them. So we worked with her on artwork and ideas that she had, created a line. She does great videos, and she has 500,000 followers, and we get traffic from her. Posts. We have another influencer who has 40,000 followers, but he has highly engaged followers. When he posts, he gets a lot of traffic. There are endless amounts of these people on the internet that you can reach out to via direct messaging, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Etsy, however you want to do it, and just offer them a free mask and say, will you post? That's one way. The other way is to try to actually collaborate with them and offer them a partnership deal. If there's someone that's big enough, if you can find someone that's got enough followers, you work with them, create a line that they like, have them post, and share profits with them. I mean, there's just have to be creative. I can't say there's any one way that we're collaborating, right? I mean, Paul, they're all different forms of collaboration.
Yeah, I mean, you can certainly work with them, and it's not like it's not accessible. I mean, you can literally, like David said, you can message them straight on Instagram, and yeah, it does take some time to find them, and you know, maybe someone that you want to make sure lines up with your brand or what you're offering in terms of your designs. Given that we had a few categories, we thought, yeah, we can go for a food influencer. We can go for someone who can, you can help us promote the fashion category. You can find someone who is an influencer about dogs if you have dog designs, you know? So I think it's more of reaching out to them, creating those partnerships, whether it's through promoting just the brand, whether it's making them someone that is part of the brand with a collaboration, creating their own collection. But the many things that you can do with them too could be like mask giveaways. That's something that we're talking about with one of them, so that we can get more visibility through their audience. But that's the important piece, is that, you know, for us to be able to get traffic onto the website, we need to find where the people are, right? And so the beauty about masks is that everybody needs them. There's not really one particular category that just needs them. It's pretty much everybody. So really you can reach out to all different types of audiences. So it kind of really opens up a wider opportunity with all the different influencers out there. You can reach out to them, and then if you decide to do a mask giveaway, if you decide to, you know, create a collection with them, or, you know, maybe it's just them posting on their IG story, whatever it is, they usually would do it for either, you know, a mask, whether it's for monetary compensation. There's many ways of doing that.
Oh, well, that's amazing.
And I think you'd be surprised. You know, you say, well, other people are already doing this, so how am I going to reach out to influencers? There's millions of them. And there's millions of them from everything from 1,000 followers. I'd say there's millions of them from 1,000 followers to 1 million followers. You could reach out to somebody with 1 million followers who loves dogs and say, hey, if I send you one of our dog masks, I see on your Instagram you have a German Shepherd. If I send you my German Shepherd mask, would you be willing to post? Even though they might charge other people for posts, they might love your mask so much that they'll be fine. Hi, I'm a small entrepreneur. I'm trying to start a little business. I saw you have a German Shepherd. I'm going to send you this mask. Do you think would you be willing to post? That's a cheap way of getting in front of people. But again, I think the biggest thing is that, as I know for you, our mask sales continue to grow, and others have gone down, saying they feel like people don't need them as much, or there's too much competition. There's always going to be competition. There's competition whether you're selling T-shirts, shoes, masks. It doesn't matter. If anything, the fact that there's competition is a good thing, because that means more people need this product if this much competition is still popping up. And if big companies are getting involved, there's a reason for it. It's because there's a need for it. So you just have to stay ahead of it a little bit. And I think, you take an hour a day and just scroll through Instagrams, scroll through hashtags. If your niche is automotive, scroll through hashtags on Instagram for automotive and just start messaging people. Type it up in a Word document or a notes file and just make it so that it's very copy and pasteable. You can send hundreds of these in an hour if you really think about how to do it. And then I think it's important, again, that you make it look like something. I know a lot of people use Etsy, and a lot of people have success on Etsy, and Etsy's fine. But to me, Etsy is something for people like what it was meant to be, kind of like hobby. You put product up there, you make some sales. I know some people understand it a lot and make a living, but to me, it doesn't seem like a great way to really showcase a brand, because it's not indexable, it's not sortable. If you go to our website, I'll just do this. If you actually go to our website, which it's not letting me share. I'm sorry, 1 second.
Let me have a look. We were talking about.
You can do it because I can't get. How do I share this? What's it called?
If you go to the Chrome, I think there is an option.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's Chrome. That's what it is. Okay, I think we should be good now.
And while David is getting that set up, I just wanted to on the competition. That competition has always been there, even back then, from April, March, and June, when the start of the pandemic. The competition has clearly always been there because from the get-go, the market was saturated with so many mask makers and retailers, and we knew that we had to figure out a way to sort of stand out from the rest and be able to really have this unique brand and look. And that's why we needed to make sure that going in, we wanted a website name that was going to stand out. Cover My Mouth. That's kind of funny. People now say it's Cover My Mouth and Nose, but we didn't just want to be like Face Mask Merchants or something like that. We needed it to be something that people could always remember. And then when building the website, we wanted to make sure that the experience was something up to par of what you would see on other e-com websites. You come in, you see this large header image, just showcasing the different promotions that we're having. As you scroll down, you start to see, what does the website have to offer, and kind of just giving them a walkthrough of pretty much what your brand is all about. And I think from the beginning, we had even what our brand mission was, which we've now pushed down towards the bottom to get more visibility on some of the mask designs. But just a clear, concise way of saying, hey, this is who Cover My Mouth is, what we stand for, what we offer, the partnerships that we have with different charities, et cetera, and kind of giving them a sense of what the brand is.
Well, and the other thing, back to what I was saying about Etsy, you can't do this on Etsy, right? You can't have this look, and it's constantly changing. And one of the things people are always talking about that I answer a lot on Facebook is, about the shipping, about the customer interaction, about the messaging. We do everything we can to message. We message up here, we message, starting 9/17, new adjustable face masks, because we haven't worked through the new Mockups yet. We've got menus and menus of product. Here are some of our collaborations. And again, this is not something we did because we have these incredible relationships. It's because we thought about it and we reached out to people to collaborate. And there's no reason why any user couldn't do this. We've just added the gaiters. We've just started. We only have a couple hundred up, but I'd say by the end of the weekend, we'll have a much larger selection of gaiters, but we wanted to make sure that when someone comes on here, that the experience is really good. And you can see it in our analytics that people come to our website and they do not leave quickly. And we get some really large sales. Due to the fact that we branded, Amazon came to us, as we've told you, and wanted us to be part of their COVID area. And the buyer at Amazon literally said she was seeing our brand name on the internet and knew right away it was something. And then something that we didn't talk about here was custom. This is a great opportunity for anybody. I don't care how small their business is. If they just talk to friends and family and anyone they know, whether it's restaurants or bars or barber shops or the local pet store, wherever, they could be doing wholesale masks.
Exactly.
5 masks, 10 masks. We've had one order that was the plant one was what, 1,000, Paul? I think it was 1,000. Yeah. So we've done orders of 1,000. We've done orders. We've done lots of 100-piece orders. We just did one for, I think it's for a high school. It was for a retired military guy who went to high school in Frankfurt, Germany. He lives in San Diego now, and he's making 250 masks for his graduating class are having a reunion of some kind.
Nice.
From around the world, and they're buying masks with their high school. So we've done it for school groups, we've done it for restaurants. I mean, everybody knows somebody that owns some business somewhere.
How do you reach those people? I mean, do you have a special marketing strategy, or if you use friends and family? What's the advice? Where to start?
We send Facebook messages, Instagram messages, ask some friends. I did masks for my friend's restaurant on Long Island, and then about 6 weeks later, somebody reached out to me for masks for their wedding. And I didn't realize until we got about halfway through the process that I actually knew who this person was through someone else. And he found out about it because he asked the people in the restaurant, he asked our friend who owned the restaurant who made her masks. And then he ordered 100 masks for his wedding. So I don't know if I sent you that picture. I'm just looking here real quick. I'll probably never find it. We have too many texts. But again, a lot of it's even just messaging, I want to share something else. I think what people have to do to really continue. Where to go? Am I sharing?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Boy, it's a real process on this to share.
Apparently it is. Yeah, I mean, I think so. Wholesale is a great point, and the other great point is as you're thinking about your sort of e-commerce business as a whole, don't get overwhelmed. Do one thing at a time and stay persistent, and don't feel like you have to figure every single thing out every single day. But the more you learn and the more you implement those learnings day by day, week by week, the stronger your foundation is, and the stronger your business becomes.
And if you look at this photo, I know that if we posted this on the Facebook group and said that we did it, they would go, well, you're a professional company with 3 people and all that. The fact is, the photo was taken with an iPhone. You could find someone on Fiverr or Upwork for literally $5 or $10 that can make this clean for you, add the messaging, and make you this image to put on all your listings. So I think that, again, creative wise, if you're not good, I see all the time people go, oh, I don't know how to use Photoshop, or I don't know how to use this. There's Canva, there's Photoshop, there's so many free options. The mock-ups need to look good. You need to have some real models. You need to think about inclusivity. You want to have people from all walks of life in your ads on your website. Again, it's very easy. If you don't know any people that don't just look like you, send out some free masks to friends that can wear them and take pictures. That's what Matt did. And he got a bunch of pictures of people that we needed because we didn't have anybody in our small group that didn't look like us, right? But we wanted to make sure that it was inclusive looking. And don't let, if you're in the group, because there are a bunch of people in this group that do message me and I always answer them. You want to do something, you don't know how. You can literally find people for $5 or $10 on Upwork or Fiverr that will do it for you. And I've even fixed people's art. Lena, Aaron Martin has sent me some artwork where he asked some advice. It takes me. I don't mind doing it. I'm really good in Photoshop, and it took me 2 minutes. And I fixed it. So it's not a problem. Like you've been so good to me as a business partner. I'm happy to help your other customers just so that the whole thing keeps growing. If you're successful, we're successful, then we can keep growing more products.
Yeah.
Because the fact is, if we didn't have this, my other business was actually fine. Matt had another business, he'd be fine. You would have struggled. Now you have this new business, which is great, and you have new users, but all these new users have a new business. And I saw some comments last night where somebody said, okay, now what do we do to get 10% of these customers to continue buying with us? And that's at the retail angle, and that's in the manufacturing side, that's in the retail side. And I think it's important. So now you got to figure out what's next. And don't let your own limitations get in the way. I think the biggest takeaway is this group is a group of people that are willing to strategically partner and share. You know, and we're open. Like if there's people, I don't care where you are, you're in another country, you're in our country, and you have some incredible relationships, and you have an opportunity to make 5,000 or 10,000 of something for somebody, but don't know how to do it. We're in that business. Reach out to us. We can partner on it and all make money together. I mean, right? I mean, right? I mean, how else? I don't know how else to say it, but I mean, we're here to help everybody. We'll help with mock-ups, help however you want, help with strategies, but it's not that hard. You just have to do it.
Also, I think it's important to understand too that we're basically all selling the same masks. So, you know, the only difference is how you sort of execute the promotion and marketing of that mask. The way that you service your customers is important, you know, the kind of customer service that you provide them, of course. And I think everybody in the AOP group understands that and has done their best to, you know, work through the challenges of United States Postal Service, et cetera, all the COVID impact, et cetera. But I think, you know, as you're thinking about your brand and your business, you definitely want to make sure that the experience for the customer is something that makes them want to feel confident in buying from you. I know from all the comments and feedback that we've been getting on our emails and our Facebook ads, the comments on our Facebook ads, is that there's a lot of scammers out there, unfortunately. And, you know, it's terrible business practice. Some of the businesses that are out there that they're just not, you know, trying to sort of reel in their customer and then not really service them correctly. Honestly, it sucks for the rest of us, because then we also have to kind of get the effects of that, because then people don't trust a lot of these businesses. So, you know, one of the main things that we need to continue doing, and that we've, I think, gotten better at, is communications with our customers. How we communicate all the shipping delays, if there are any, if we see any differences in when USPS delivers something a little bit later, we might add that to our FAQs. We let our customers know, you know, as we're answering their emails back, if there are any sort of new updates that are happening. We just want to make sure that we're as transparent as possible, to make sure that they feel good about working with us or buying from us. I think that confidence piece is important. The way that we engage with them, whether it's through customer service or even through the branding and the messaging, is important as well. So, you know, throughout the website, even within the product descriptions, there's some great product descriptions that come default when you upload your masks. We wanted to give it a little bit more of a unique personality that gives a little bit of who we are as a brand. So we, you know, it takes some time to do all that too, but we know that it's going to pay us back in many dividends for as long as we're really positioning our product and what we offer in a very unique and special way. And even as we, you know, started, it wasn't always there. And so I think, you know, David said, you want to make sure that you have photos of yourselves and your family, and make sure that there's a lot of diversity and variations of different photos. We didn't have all that in the beginning. It was the start of the pandemic. We had to Photoshop the masks on top of stock photos. And, you know, at the same time, get our masks and sort of try to start finding people to take photos of. But yeah, we started off with Photoshopping. People called us out on Instagram saying, guys, that's a Photoshopped photo, you know, it's not a real mask. And I commented back to them in a very nice way saying, hey, it's a pandemic. We're trying the best that we can.
We're literally not allowed outside of our apartments, but they're complaining to us because we didn't do like real photo shoots with models.
How you can do that?
But we responded in a nice and a quirky way that people respected, and, you know, we were just being real. Like, we say to people, hey, we started a couple of months ago. We're navigating through the chaos in the business. What we do want to do is provide, a premium quality mask that helps reduce the spread of COVID, that helps keep our community healthy. We knew that it was also important that, if we partnered with a charity, we chose Frontline Foods to partner with, so that we could say, hey, we're not just selling masks here, but we're also trying to help the communities that are impacted. So Frontline Foods, supports communities and local restaurants, as well as frontline heroes. And so we felt good about that. During Pride Month in June, we decided to put some of those donations towards the Trevor Project, which helps with LGBTQ kids, keeping them healthy and keeping them alive. And so there's a lot of different things that we wanted to make sure that made us unique in terms of our brand. Even as you look into our social media, you can even see the evolution from like our older photos to what they are now. Again, they did start off with Photoshop. As we were getting customers that were getting their masks and they loved it, we simply asked them, hey, if you love the mask, we'd love to see you wear them. Please post it on Facebook and Instagram. If you do, we'll choose our favorite mask ever so often and give you a free mask. And I think that one made them go, okay, yeah, I want to share it because maybe I might win a free mask. But we also said wear it because it helps remind people to wear a mask. And that's the whole point of why we're doing this, right? Exactly. Is essentially to get people to wear a mask and keep the community healthy. So we gave them so many different ways of getting excited to post a photo, and then they started posting it. We asked them to tag us, of course. We started getting notifications. We were seeing these photos. We reached out to them saying, hey, can we use your photos to reshare on our social, on our website? And then that's when it started to grow even further. And I just wanted to share this quickly, our Instagram page.
Oh, there's that.
And so.
Oh, there we go, it's coming. Let me share. Oh, yes.
You see it? Okay. So this is our Instagram page. Everyone is able to make an Instagram page, of course. But if we go all the way to the bottom here, this right here, that is a Photoshop mask. A Photoshop photo that I tried creating, and I'm not the best at making these, fake masks. But again, you could always find someone on Upwork. But throughout, we started to think about how do we sort of create these photos and share these photos that would really talk about the different designs, the people that are wearing them. So we showed some product shots of just the mask with a different background, which that is the mock-up essentially. And I just put a different background there, very simple. Again, just playing with creating these images. And then people started to share. So here's one that was from one of our wholesale clients. She wanted, I think, how many masks was that, David? Like 300 or so for her.
Yeah, for a summer camp.
For a summer camp. This is Matt's wife. We asked, our own families to share some photos. Here are some of the friends that we had at a restaurant who we had them share. And then that's when we started thinking, okay, let's reach out to some influencers. So here's the influencer who's big in the foodie world, doing something very unique, of course, for her audience with fries. Here's David himself, his wife. So really, we wanted to, just start including photos that pretty much showed the real people that wear them. And that's the simple strategy that anyone can follow. And then I thought, let's take this up a little further. I think it'd be cool if we can create different scenes based on what the person's wearing. And so this is a photo doodle illustration that we worked with a awesome, talented cartoonist, digital illustrator on Upwork. And she, just for a couple of bucks each photo, basically creates these doodles.
But literally make that point, a couple of dollars.
Beautiful.
She's not charging us $100 or $50.
So these are just fun, cute, whimsical type of doodles that, again, starts to set us apart from some of the mask brands out there. This is
I think that's a good point too, especially as you think about Instagram, but also in general. It's like, how do you kind of cut through the noise. So on Instagram, it's like, hey, if you think about like basic t-shirts, right? I wear one every day, but there are literally 1,000 companies selling plain basic t-shirts that are paying for advertising that people probably aren't clicking. Whereas to Paul's point, it's like, okay, there's same things going on with masks to a degree. What can we do that differentiates us? Whether that is our own assortment, whether that's what we choose to showcase, whether that is taking our mask on somebody and creating doodles and imagery in the background so that it's more eye-catching. That way of thinking of sort of how do I cut through and stand out from the crowd is applicable on Instagram. Obviously, it's also applicable on Twitter, on Facebook, on, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And in different ways, sure. But it's the same thought process of, I know there's a ton of other advertisers on here. How can I stand out? And or brands on here. How can I stand out?
Paul, there's a question there about the layout. Do you see that?
Hey there. So the question is, for the layout, we went with that clean mock-up.
I think he means the updated mock-up, not the original one that had the lady behind the wrong mask.
Okay. So yes, the mock-ups that we use are, I think why we really love them was that it shows the entire art, right? So it's not like the form-fitted mock-up would only show just a portion of that art. The flat mock-ups show the entire art, which was great. It gives the customer, a sense of like what the whole design looks like, essentially. I will say that there's, because of the market out there, people are selling form-fitted masks. There's ones that, there's all different types of versions out there. There's people that are going to want the form-fitted masks. And so when they see the flat one, they think they're getting just this flat mask that doesn't conform to their face. So in our communication, again, we have to make sure that we're being clear that these masks are flat when you see them on the website, but when you put them on, they cinch on the sides. That creates a form fit that helps in terms of efficacy, or just being effective in terms of protection. It also helps with comfort because there's so many different various face sizes. There's wide faces, there's small and narrow faces. So I think the beauty about the AOP masks is that they cinch on the sides based on your face size. If you buy a form-fitting face mask from some of the other brands out there, I've seen a couple of them on people. They are pretty fit, and they really, are a great fit for their face size. But as they're talking, it's moving up and down because it doesn't give. There's no sort of flexibility, and so that's nice that the AOP masks are sort of like flexibility in that sense. So I would say that, to your question, it has helped convert because people see the full design. But there's always going to be a couple of people out there that's not going to want that flat look, and you just have to communicate to them that it's actually a form-fitting mask at the end.
The problem with the model mock-up to me is it just looks like a print-on-demand website. We try to do everything to not look like a print-on-demand website, but a brand, a real, right? So if you have the same person with the same two eyes, the same nose, like one after the next 1,000, it just, to me, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look engaging. It's not interesting. So to Paul's point, we'd rather show the artwork and then throw some random photos of real people throughout the website. Or even if you're just using Etsy, you could have each listing as its own artwork, and you could have the third or fourth photo be a real picture, even if it's not the exact artwork, just of a real person wearing one of your masks, and just put on the image, example photo, not the artwork from the listing or something like that. But at least you're showing a real photo. But yeah. I don't like, for me, for business and scaling e-commerce, my biggest thing is that my web businesses cannot look like print-on-demand businesses. And we have a couple of other business partners that we do people's websites for them, their branding, and they were blown away by, how it looked like a professional website with photo shoots. Everybody talks about it in the Facebook group. I don't know how many people use it, but just Place It. I mean, we pay, memberships all add up. But I mean, I don't even know what it costs. It's like $10 a month or something. It's like, it's no big deal. Like if you're going to have a business, you got to do a little bit of investing, but it doesn't need to be huge. We belong to, some of the vector websites. We try to not have our artwork all just be pre-existing vector files. But it's a good starting point. You can download a bunch of art. You can change the colors. You can download vectors that you purchase or subscribe to and give them to somebody on Upwork to illustrate over them. I mean, again, make it creative. Don't just sell the same 10 flag images that every website has and then wonder why you have no sales. Exactly. Traffic brings sales, though, at the end of the day, right? So you need a few things. You need engagement, you need traffic, you need a good product, and you need to deliver it, and you need social proof, which is a big term in e-commerce. And we have social proof by people posting photos, and it's really important.
I think the other thing I would add to that list is you need consistency, right? Because I think that there's this kind of big misconception that you build this website and all of a sudden traffic just starts flowing and, oh my God, look at it, the business is booming. It doesn't work like that. It's brick by brick. It's day by day. It is constantly iterating, both creatively and both with your assortment, but then also with the tools you're using and your tech plugins and your tech stack. So from that standpoint, I think the more you can get in the habit of constantly trying to improve, and even if you're only 1% better tomorrow than you were today, guess what? After 10 days, you're 10% better. After 100 days, you're 100% better. So it's that mentality of constantly, trying to seek improvement in any way that you can, that I think has led us to a lot of success, because we kind of embrace the process of that piece of it. It's not just all about the results. Results are great. Obviously, that's what we're all working our butts off for, but it's also about the process of how do we continuously improve.
And we shift literally multiple times a day. This is not like, oh, we started doing something and it just works. We're constantly changing, constantly having calls together. We have calls with the third-party app developers for Shopify all the time. It's not because we're a big website. We just reach out and we say, hey, we were thinking about using your third-party application, but we don't really understand what it'll do for us. And before we commit to $20 a month, what is it? And they get on the phone with you. I mean, the guy that owns Advanced Shipping Rules, his name is Brian Dillon. I'm not a giant customer of his. I pay the same subscription fee that everybody pays. When I've had issues, he calls me on the phone.
That's amazing.
Calls me up, no problem. I mean, so there are other businesses like yours that are engaged. If you tried to get someone from Printful on the phone or it's not going to be quite the same. But you got to align yourself that way. The other thing people should do is, again, don't let money be your limitation or your lack of skills in Photoshop. So you can't do Photoshop or you don't know how to do proper social media. Find somebody young in your neighborhood or a friend or family member or whoever and partner with them. Say, here, I have no money, but I've got this great idea. You do the graphics, I'm going to do the posting, and we'll share in the profits. I mean, you just got to find ways to be creative and don't allow monetary limitations, because the beauty of POD is you only pay for it after you sell it.
Exactly. Yeah. I have another question. Susan, who would like to answer?
So I think it's a good question, to be honest with you. The answer I would say is yes. It just takes longer than I think we're kind of trained to think, because of all those things we're talking about, right? Where it's like, even if you go back to that micro influencer example, you might have to contact 100 micro influencers to get 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 that agree. And they're like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Then you have to send them the stuff. Then you have to wait for them to post. And then you're going to see things come in, trickles. But the whole idea, I think, is that it adds up eventually. So depending on, what your product category is, if you're talking about masks, it's like, okay, how are we different than all the other people out there? If you're talking about something else, it's kind of the same question in a different way. But I absolutely think you can. And I think that...
And also, Susan should know that this website didn't exist.
Yep.
We launched at the end of May. So it was a brand new website.
And on the trust thing, I think the most important thing about making sure that your customers trust you is that you have all your policies and your return policies, your shipping policies, all clearly laid out and easily accessible, right? Because that's what you want to first find out. And as a customer for myself, I want to make sure that there is a return policy that's set in place, a way for me to exchange it if I need to, if there's a number or an email that I can reach out to if I have an issue. I think the more that you lay that out for the customer and make it easy for them to find, it gives them that sort of confidence and trust that you are a legit company. If there is an issue for any reason, you have a plan to handle it. If the order doesn't come for any reason, how are you going to handle that? and you let them know and communicate that through your FAQs and your return policies and shipping policies. So having those pages in Shopify, and that's what Shopify does encourage you to make sure that you do have those in place, because that is important for a customer.
And Shopify does work. There's a reason they're the largest web platform for entrepreneurs in the world. And it's not just, Kylie Cosmetics and Fashion Nova powered by Shopify. It's also small users. But what a Shopify website will not do for you when you build it, I don't care how good it looks, customers just don't start showing up. Mm-hmm. You have to, get some people on there, and you're going to get them on there by social proof and by reaching out to influencers, friends, family, and getting people posting pictures for you. And that's why I go back to get 20 masks, send them to 20 really good friends or colleagues that have a decent, even a small following on social media, and ask them to post for you. And then you'll start getting some sales. But again, there's no, like Matt said, we have one client that we've been partnering with that we built a website for. The guy was driving us crazy, days after the website launch, not understanding, why he hasn't retired yet. I'm being stupid, but it just doesn't come that fast. It takes time. It takes a few months. Yeah, I see. So Susan said, in Germany, I know in Europe there's a lot of different rules too with e-commerce that you're allowed to do. I'm not really familiar with it, and believe me, we get called out on it all the time. No one reads anyway, so we do have the policies. We do have the policies laid out, but we have to remind people of them constantly.
I have a specific question while we're talking about return policy. You guys have lots of different websites. I'm talking about the mask website. Do you have a specific return policy on the mask business? Because this is the main question on the group, as you noticed before. Do you accept returns? Because it's very specific product. It's not a t-shirt. You can return it. You can accept it and send it to another customer. How do you handle that?
So by default, across our websites, we give them usually a certain time frame for them to be able to return it, because if you don't put a time frame, anyone can return that at any time. So the policies that we have, I think, we're set to within 7 days of delivery. You can reach out to us if there's any issue in terms of, is the product defective in any way? Did you receive it and something's broken, whatever? Is it something that doesn't fit correctly, or you don't like the design, so it's something you want to exchange? You normally want to make sure that you keep that customer and at least convince them for an exchange versus a return, because that in the long run will help in terms of your bottom line. But as far as our return policies go, it has evolved because it's something that we're learning too. There's not really any set best practice in terms of how we would handle face masks. I mean, face masks, as we know, is something that is worn for protection, whether you have COVID or if you're protecting yourself from someone who has COVID. So we knew from the get-go that we're going to have a challenge with this, because we can't exactly take these masks all back, because we can't resell them. So I think one, we did communicate that in our policies, saying that if it is unopened, we will be happy to exchange it or return it. If it is opened, people understand too that this is not your normal product. It's not like something they can just return. But also being clear about that and being transparent in that, I think people respect the fact that we're not going to resell a mask. But yeah, we started off with that. Go ahead, David.
No, I do think though, because we're in this world of like Amazon and everything being, quick delivery and returnable all the time, that from my drag queen merch business, and when I analyze the 5 years of business with drag queen merch, and I look at how many returns and exchanges we actually get compared to overall business, I prefer to just tell people it's all returnable. It's whatever, refundable, because in the end, the percentage is so tiny if your product is good, that it gives the customer confidence. If they feel like they don't understand the product and they don't know who you are, and it's not returnable, you're kind of setting yourself up for a more of a challenge to get them to buy from you. But if you actually look at our overall returns, like if you came into my office right now and I showed you the stack of masks, you'd go, oh my God, you had 25 returns that you have to throw away. Yeah, but we sold tens of thousands of masks. So it's like, so what do we do with those when we get them back opened? We usually use them to take a good photo So it gives us a good photo of real product as opposed to, product that's just from the mock-up generator. And then it gets thrown away. What are we going to do,
Yeah, I think to that point, though, customer service as a whole is something that obviously has been, it's an important part of any e-commerce business, right? But we've kind of grown to a point where we needed to think through it more thoughtfully, because the idea of customer service is to set expectations and then meet the expectations. The idea of customer service is not to just, have people coming at you being like, give me that, give me this for free. Let me use all these discounts. Where is this? Where is that? So I think having a good framework and policy, it not only stated, but then also sticking to it, because there are, we all know the internet's a big place. There's all kinds of good, bad people that want things for free, whatever else, people that just want to complain. So from that standpoint, I think we kind of had to gradually realize that as our customer service volume kept increasing, where it's like, okay, wait a minute. One, we're not offering to do that. Here's what we are offering to do. Here's what we promised we would do. Did we do it to your satisfaction? Yes or no? And then that's it. We don't want to sit there and email back and forth with people 85 different times when they're emailing us like 3 times a day, being like, where's my mask? Where's my mask? Where's my mask? That isn't the idea of customer service. And I think we kind of had to learn that one the hard way.
Yeah, I would agree. So 2 more questions. With the hundreds of designs, so like I said, we have over 2,000 designs right now. So in terms of scaling and growing, to answer your question, the answer is yes. To all of it, for the most part, a lot of graphics are done by us. Paul and I both, just by nature of our backgrounds, can do graphics. We, in one of my other e-commerce businesses, we work with a lot of with a lot of actual fan artists, is what I would say, and that's an opportunity too that people can do, is go out and find, if you're, again, I'll just make up the niche. If you're doing pets, go find someone on Instagram that loves to draw pets and illustrates them, and then see if they want to partner with you and pay them a percentage of, your profits at the end. So we get art from fan artists. We get art that we've done ourselves. We get art that we get download from subscriptions to vector websites. Sometimes, I don't need an artist to make the Puerto Rico flag, right? We download the Puerto Rico flag off a vector site, and now we have a whole flag section. We have every flag. We think we have every flag you need until you get called out on it. So it's really a combination of it. But if you wanted to do verbiage and humor, you could easily go onto Upwork. You could easily go find a bunch of humor lines, go on Upwork and say to people, and find an artist and say, here, can you make me 20 designs? It literally cost you $50. It costs you nothing.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. Would you still build a mask? Go ahead.
Also, the people that we find on Upwork, some of them are also like, you check out their portfolio, you see if you like their style, but they may not have a lot of feedback yet. And so the one that we were working on for the doodle illustrations, she's pretty new at Upwork. So she's like, I'm willing to do a bunch of these for this X amount of price, for as long as, we work closely together and I can get some good feedback so I can grow my Upwork profile. So there's ways around that.
Perfect. Yeah. There's one more question.
Would you still build a mask brand today? The answer is yes, I think, on our part, because first of all, I don't know where that person lives, because it's just a Facebook user. I don't even see their name, but the fact is, people are going to be wearing masks for a while, all into next year, at least in our opinion. We don't see it changing so fast. And Ireland is shut down for 2 or 3 weeks now. Is London shut down? Like we were talking about before the call, Florida just opened up all their restaurants and bars 100%. No masks, no limitations. Believe me, in 6 or 8 weeks, it's not going to be gone. Masks are going to be back.
Well, so yeah, the example we were talking about, what was it, like last week or the week before, when we were actually literally having this exact conversation, was like, Paul and David both live in New York. I'm out in LA. And I'm like, when is the next time, conceivably in your head, you could picture yourself riding a subway without a mask on? And I don't know what that answer is, but I guarantee you it's not 3 months from now. And I would actually bet it's probably not 6 months or 9 months from now either. So I think that there will be some sustained changes in behavior for people at risk, certainly, but for also people that can't avoid a crowd. It's going to be everyone's decision kind of in their own head once the restrictions and mandates ease up a little bit. But I think you're going to find an awful lot of people are still going to be wearing masks, especially in crowded spaces.
Yeah, and I used to fly. and I used to fly every 2 to 3 weeks for work and for meetings. I haven't flown since early March, when's the last time I saw Matt in person, and have no trips planned for the balance of 2020. I don't even think there'll be trips in early 2021. So I don't see this, and the airlines are not going to all of a sudden say you don't need masks. So if anything, the drop off, you could look at it in a good way, because a lot of people will say, I don't want to be bothered with this anymore, and they'll move on to their next business, which means there'll be more opportunity for those that stay in the business and do it properly to maintain a larger market share.
Now, from your question about the mask brand, I wouldn't say you'd have to make it a mask brand. You can certainly make it a brand that is encompassing of other things. Now, Cover My Mouth, of course, that's a domain name. That's a brand that is like very sort of mask focused only, and we're thinking of ways to pivot that, of course. But for those that are building their brand, it doesn't have to be a mask brand. It's just the fact that the branding is something that represents the quality products that you provide and offer, the customer service commitment that you would use and offer to your customers as well. So I think, one, that's a way of looking at it, and two, yes, we may have had peaks when people were looking for so many masks, and now they probably have a lot, but guess what? They're going to need more. And this is definitely something that we can confirm, because our customers come back to shop for more, which is weird. I never thought that people would be spending, for more and more masks, but hey, you need one for fall. You need masks that match your holiday outfit. You need masks that go with, your outfit for a birthday party, who knows? So I think you don't want to limit yourself to thinking that it's over. You want to be smart about the kind of trends that are happening. You want to make sure that you're kind of keeping a pulse on, what's happening in the news, of course, but making sure that you're considering that some of these other people, they're looking for other mask brands. I know for a fact from our comments and the feedback from customers that a lot of them are not happy with the masks that they're getting. They're either single layer, they're not doing anything. They bought one that's cheap, and they are now realizing what you get when you pay for something cheap. And a lot of people find out that our masks are much more comfortable. AOP masks are much more comfortable, than what they're getting at Target and Walmart. Because the truth is, those are like $1, $2 masks that they're getting from overseas that just really are not careful in terms of quality assurance.
And I think, speaking to the price and the quality, like working on wholesale customers, it's like I've kind of come up with a way, when someone wants 50 or 100, our price is our price, and it's like we know it's going to be fine, right? But we've had people come to us for 500, 1,000, 5,000, and we just message with right away. We just tell them. And first of all, we try to speak on the phone to them, not just do emailing, because there's just no engagement with them that way. But the one thing we always say, we talk about the quality immediately, and we just say to them, like, it's important for us to know what type of mask you're really looking for, because if your budget's $1 because you saw an ad on Facebook for $1 masks that deliver from China, single layer cotton masks, we're not actually the brand for you. So we just want to be clear up front. Why is our wholesale price, $7 or $8? Because it has this. If you want to buy the $1 or $2 mask, that's great. It exists, but that's not what we do. But if you're looking for all these elements, we can give that to you. And I gotta be honest, I was kind of surprised, but when we got like the 1,000-piece mask order, she was super happy. We've had one customer we've had someone order 100 pieces 3 times. Also, what does the packaging do, right? So, this is the way I guess everybody gets shipped normally, right?
Correct.
It doesn't set you aside from any other print-on-demand supplier other than the fact that the mask is different. You go, customer gets this. They think in their mind they're buying from a company. The fact is, Paul is in an apartment 1 floor above me in New York City. Matt's in his house in California. Paul and Matt have never met each other in person. I happen to work with each of them in different ways. Now we're together with my son and his boyfriend. So the fact is, we are a company, but somebody gets this and they think it comes from a company. Where did it come from? And if you can't afford to do this packaging, like I said, order stickers, get a hero membership, send them to AOP, and they'll put your sticker on the front. We also offer bounce back cards.
We didn't talk about that one.
We have a bounce back card that offers a discount on a future purchase. Very inexpensive to make.
Wait. Let me show you.
Iger's team.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
The nice thing about those bounce back cards is that if they don't want to use them, they usually share it with a friend, and so that person immediately gets $5 off.
And you can track down, isn't it? You can see that if they use this code, if at least it's going to give you an idea that okay, the return rate from the bounce back card is that.
Mm-hmm.
And just also about the branding. I mean, gaiters existed before this. People were using gaiters when they went skiing, when they went fishing, if they were, So there's nothing wrong with starting a brand off now and leveraging face masks, but and having other products, and going away. It's just got to be fun and creative. I mean, we've had Paul. Didn't we have someone last week? They bought 11 or 12 masks. It was like the third time they did that. I mean, they just keep coming back because they love looking through all of the opportunities. And what else do we have? Our returns come back to us actually. Not to AOP.
Usually what we do on AOP side is we only handle your returns if it's undelivered or if there's a problem about the delivery, etc.
Yeah,
it's come to the UK or the US. Yeah. And we let the customers know. But CMM guys, they have different return management. How do you do that? I mean, do you give your home address where the return comes?
Yeah, I mean, we use my I'm in an apartment building, so it's safe. It's not like someone's coming to my house. I'm in a building, a secured building. It's just our corporate address, and they send it back here, and we use the word suite number instead of apartment number, and it sounds like it's going to an office. It really doesn't matter. Yeah, they come in. I think I have one right here.
Oh, there we go.
What right here to deal with, but it's no big deal. There's not that many of them. It's not. It's that is like the least issue with the whole business is the returns and exchanges. It feels really noisy. I would say that our biggest issue were the smalls, which we're not going to have that issue anymore because we're using the same size cord now for both smalls and larges, and they're adjustable. So I expect the majority of the returns to stop. I don't actually expect to have much of an issue with that going forward. Paul, wouldn't you think?
No, definitely not.
Yeah. And then Tony's asking about Shopify. I mean, look, Shopify is awesome because first of all, they have a free, you can sign up for free. I think it's a 30 or a 60-day trial period for free. They were running a 90-day promotion recently for free. The lowest membership price, I think, is $29 a month, which the fact that you can get a full shopping cart program, web developed program like that for $29 a month with Shopify payments, payment processing, everything else set up is as cheap as you're going to get. There are thousands of free web templates that you can download and basically build your website with, and it helps you do it.
And we got ours from themeforest.com for like $52.
Yeah, literally. Now, we initially in our web businesses built the sites ourselves, but as we grew, we realized there were customizations we wanted to do. But I mean, I can tell you, put cover my mouth aside, dragqueenmerch.com has been in business for over 5 years. We've done multi-seven figures over the years, and we've spent less than $7,000 in web development. Literally maybe $8,000, because we built the nuts and bolts of it ourselves. And then I find people on Upwork. I say, I want to fix this. I mean, we have somebody we work with now who's really, really good with Shopify, and I'm happy to share him with anybody if they want to message me separately. And I go, you can give my contact info, it's fine. But I mean, he's doing maybe 20 to 30 hours a month now for us, freelance work, and the invoices are like $200. I mean, it's nothing to do fully customized stuff. So it's nothing. So to answer Tony's question, you don't really have to be that familiar with it, because Shopify itself have so many seminars they do, and they're super helpful. Their 24/7 support's really helpful. I think they're fantastic. So I mean, there's a reason why they are what they are. I do.
I was just gonna say, I guess for the advice for a beginner, I would say is, obviously sign up for Shopify. I've used WordPress for 10 plus years, and I migrated even my dad's site to Shopify. It's just a great platform, as David mentioned. Create a logo, of course, something that people are going to remember you by, your name, your brand. Of course, obviously, connect it to the AOP Plus app so you can get easily started with updating your products, and using the templates to upload your designs. And then essentially think about the ways that you're going to market it. It's really like the basics of it is get yourself the site, get yourself the designs, connect to AOP Plus, and then marketing. And one of the easiest and free ways of marketing is search engine optimization, which as many has known as SEO. Shopify out of the gate is pretty optimized for SEO. The product descriptions from AOP out of the gate is already optimized, but we went a bit further for some of the products that we know are going to gain some traction. One example is our Starry Night face mask. Our Starry Night face mask, when you type in Starry Night into Google, and I'll just quickly share my screen here, is showing up as in the first page, which we had no idea that was going to happen. But I think because it was one of our first face masks that was in there since June, and then as more people continue to buy it, we started showing up here in the first page. So the crazy part is
amazing.
We're right next to Amazon, we're right next to Etsy, and we're beating Redbubble and Zazzle, etc. But if I click into this page, you'll see here right away too the title: Van Gogh Starry Night face mask, and then that's not.
You're above.
Starry Night Vincent Van Gogh face mask, and you see the description here also says Starry Night. It says face mask, Starry Night. So we know that the first couple of characters, essentially the first one or two sentences in our description is going to show up in Google, and is essentially what Google's looking for. So beyond the default product description, or we also made sure to put our own little blurb, making sure that it is filled with bolded, rich keywords, using the keywords that we want to show up for, and then also linking out to wikipedia.org, because that also helps your SEO. So really think about SEO as a free way of marketing, because that takes some time to build. So it's always good to already start on that. And then just since we're here on the product description page, the way that we lay out the features, we went a step further too. We wanted to make sure that we were sort of giving this a unique feel. So this fabric that cinches easily, we call it mask fit. We gave it a name. We said, if we give it a name, it gives people confidence that this is something that we're thinking about in terms of the quality. The adjustable ear loops, we call it Flex Adjust, which is essentially adjustable and elastic ear loops. But we gave it a name. Again, something that we wanted to make sure was being communicated in our branding, in our marketing materials. Even the filter pocket, we started calling it a flexible filter pocket, and now call it a flex pocket. The Flex Pocket includes a replaceable PM 2.5 filter. Now, when you see that as a customer, you're like, "Wow, okay, they've got a great filter pocket." At the end of the day, it's literally just a filter pocket on the inside. So that's part of marketing. That's literally part of marketing. You got to make sure that people feel good about the product. I'm going to stop sharing here.
And no one's saying it's easy and that it doesn't take time. But the biggest problem with POD websites, when everybody just uses the published product description, is that everybody has the same product description. Take time. If you have 100 items on your website, go to all 100 of them and have one part that's the same and organized, and then write 2 sentences, 3 sentences of copy. If you go to any of the big companies, like retailers, if you go to urbanoutfitters.com, I'll say the same ones, fashionnova.com, UK has their own fashion websites. The product description will be to that product. It's not generic, and that will help you in your SEO. It's not that hard. You don't have to be an SEO expert You're just taking some time. The other thing, again, going back to Upwork, you could 100% find somebody on Upwork that would probably write you those product descriptions off of your keywords for you for a very small amount of money.
Yeah, and I think the important thing is we're not making things up. We're just giving it a name. We're still explaining what this product material is, and we're being very clear and transparent about that. We're just giving it a name, something that's catchy. Essentially, we're productizing it. We're giving it like a certain unique positioning that basically makes us stand outside of the other regular pod.
Well, and to the point earlier about no one reads, right? In that context, we were talking about it policy-wise, but that's the other thing that does, where you say like, okay, how do we sort of make it so that it catches somebody's eye and or encourages them to want to learn more about it? Because guess what? The more that they read about the attributes, the higher the likelihood is that they'll actually buy the mask. So it's very effective, I think, in terms of keeping in mind the user side of it. And the goal is like, hey, let's accurately describe the product in a manner in which catches their eye and that they're more inclined to read.
Another question.
Personalized products with AOP. We don't do personalized products, and you're still not doing them on face masks, right, Edgar?
No. When we're busy, when we started to offer personalized products. I mean, as you all know, all products on AOP you can offer personalized, but we weren't expecting that much volume and hard work about the mask, I'll be honest with you. So then we stopped offering personalized option for the masks. You can still do it for the other products, but not the mask. But
we're actually interested in using personalized products. We just haven't gotten to that yet.
Yeah.
I don't actually know how it works with you. So someday.
I'm going to make another video with you, so I can explain you and to the other people, so we can make another video about that.
But personalized in what sense? Like branding or like custom design?
So we could theoretically on a Shopify, you could add a Shopify module that allows a customer personalization, right? So somebody comes to our website and they need 10 shirts for a birthday party. They can pick one of our products. They can type in their own words or whatever, build the design, upload it. It goes to AOP. He produces it and ships it. And now we're taking custom orders without even touching it.
Yeah, so that's definitely on the front end, technically the back end, but like in terms of on the AOP user on their Shopify platform. Yeah.
How much do you recommend spending on Facebook ads?
So there's not an easy answer to that, I would say. In theory, you want to obviously pace the spend with the performance of the actual ads and the performance of the business, right? So I think from that standpoint, that's kind of always your guardrail. There's nothing wrong with spending $5 a day. There's nothing wrong with spending $5 million a day. In theory, you want to pace the ad spend to the growth and performance of the ads and then the growth of the business, so that you're not, outlaying a ton on ads up front before you even see effectiveness. So I think in order to do that, you have to kind of be in it for the long haul, and you have to view it as like, I'm not just going to turn it on and turn it off, or I'm not going to, just set something and forget it and assume that it's going to work. It's something that you have to work, and you have to monitor it, and you have to not only, play around and experiment with all the different settings in terms of campaigns and budgets and audiences, and how you sort of incentivize Facebook's algorithm to put you in bids on ads. But then you also have to look at the financials of it, and it's a process, and that doesn't necessarily need to mean every day. It could mean every week, but you have to be rigorous about that piece of it to grow it inherently. But then, as you grow it, if you're growing it profitably and you're seeing good ROAS and you're seeing good ROI and you're making money off of it, okay, it's like, how can we then start to scale upwards?
And with that said, you have to consider the basics of the Facebook ads campaign strategies. So, the main thing to also keep in mind is that when you do start a new campaign, it's going to be in learning mode until you reach about 50 conversions. And this is something that is just standard across all Facebook campaigns, so that the algorithms or the algos realize who are the customers, the ideal customers that are converting, and then reach out to them again. So you would need, if you start off with $5 to $10 a day, you could potentially find a customer for that. It's going to take a little bit longer to get out of the learning mode. So, after 50 conversions or 50 results, that's when you really know that your campaign is smart enough to find your ideal customers. you will always want to make sure that your campaigns, especially for face masks, are set to conversions as the objective. Why? Because we know right away that they're going to be converting. If it's basically a customer that is looking for a face mask, they're thinking of a couple of things. Is its face mask meet the requirements of what I look for in terms of features? And is it in the design, color, or style that I'm looking for? And essentially, they're going to be converting, right then and there. They may come back a few days later, but it's not like your other types of products that might have a longer sales cycle where they need to think about all different types of considerations. And that's why it's super important that when they do land on the page, there are very clear and concise features bulleted in a list. Photos of people wearing them. There's just very clear communication of the different features and aspects of that mask. But in terms of the Facebook ad campaign, you could certainly start with a very low budget. Really what it comes down to is your audience. So yes, you can essentially reach out to so many different audiences since everybody needs a mask. But what we saw was the most successful in terms of performance is that when we took our Pride masks and we targeted anyone that was interested in terms of the interest for Facebook, anyone that was interested in LGBTQ, in pride parades, just really like targeted, audiences that would be very, very much interested in the pride designs that we had. When it came to the Van Gogh and the art masks, we targeted anyone that liked the Museum of Modern Art, anyone that liked the Metropolitan Museum of Art, anyone that liked all the different artists. And then we saw that people were just, again, clicking through and making purchases. Why? Because we are targeting folks that like art with a Facebook ad creative that was essentially a video showing all the different art masks. It wasn't just a black mask, a red mask, a striped mask. It was specifically art masks that we knew people from the art world would like. So those are some of the things you also want to consider too in terms of your Facebook campaign. But I think from the start, if you set like $100 for the day for your campaign, you could essentially turn it off if things are getting too crazy. But that $100 to me makes me go, okay, if I get someone at 12, then I know I can get another person around $12 cost per result. Whereas if you have a $5 to $10 day and there's someone that you can get for $12 to $15, you're not going to get that person because you set your daily at $5 to $10. So you can't really see what that is. Like Matt said, we started off with a very conservative daily budget. For us, it was about $100 to $200 a day. If we saw it was too crazy, we would immediately cut it off. We knew that we'd have to give it some time, but we also had to make sure that we were actually being honest with the algorithms and finding out what the real customer cost would be. And then as the campaigns continued, we saw the cost per result start to decrease. Now, keep in mind, Q4 is here, the holiday, elections, there's going to be a lot of competition. So it's not going to be as cheap as it was in the summer, but it's not to say that, depending on what you're selling, depending on your design, depending on who your audiences are, could still be a very ideal cost and for budgets.
The importance of having an engaged website or an engaged wherever your product is being sold is that, the cost per result was $12 or $13, but our average retail was $37 to $40. Most people that were buying on average were buying 2.5 to 3 masks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that helps balance that. That helps balance that off. It's not that it was cost per result is $12, but we only sold 1 mask, so we lose money on every order. We were selling an average of 2.5 masks per order. You're not going to always make money on it. Again, we have an e-commerce business. We're in this business. We're not trying to make quick money. We've established, how many repeat customers, Matt? You said we just got
we're up to 1,200. We're up to 1,200
repeat.
Yeah, and I think that's the other key point, right? If you look at without getting too complex, like marketing funnel in general. Right? First, get them on the site or get them aware of it. Eventually, hopefully they purchase. But then after they purchase, that is probably one of your biggest assets as a digitally native e-commerce brand is your customer base, right? Because they come back and getting someone to purchase the second time, if you satisfy their expectations and they're happy with the product is a whole heck of a lot easier than getting them to purchase the first time. So that can become something that isn't just an initial one transaction that's a customer that is then, and you can sell more stuff to, essentially, as long as you keep meeting their expectations from a product and a pricing standpoint.
And I also just want to make, I don't know what the time frame of this is, but I want to just make it clear, like, this might all sound like the three of us come out of Silicon Valley or something, but the fact is that we're just learning this as we do it. Like, as much as Paul and Matt know about Facebook advertising, Paul knew a little bit, but as we do it, they're reading and talking to people and, having calls with, just talking and learning about it. Like I said, I started Drag Queen Merch 5 years ago with my son to help him with a business. Up until November, it was him and I, and then Matt came in November, sort of to consult us in strategies and scaling, because Matt's really good in processes. It doesn't even matter what the business is. Matt looks at it and develops a process. And then Paul's got a digital media background, but not in this. And then we just learn. And there is a steep learning curve, but it's all there. Like, we all read, we communicate with each other, we talk to people that are in the business. We talk to you, Edgar. I talked to the guy from Advanced Shipping Rules. I talked to, Max from another POD.
All the app people. And, Paul, you kind of mentioned it before, but people are willing to help, right? And even if you're a relatively small site, you don't have some big business or big consumer base. If you want to use like the plugins and the tools, all those people will help you. Half of them will even set it up for you. So you approach it properly and respectfully, and you say like, hey, I'm interested in this. I want to learn about this. But if you engage with them in a way where they're getting honest and real feedback, you'd be shocked at what people will help you do and or help educate you and even sometimes do for you. Facebook specifically is one where it's like you have a marketing specialist, and that is your best source of information if you're starting out. And the more you spend, you kind of get bumped up the ranks and you get, higher and higher level people. But they're going to be able to turn you on to probably weeks worth of reading in one conversation from 45 minutes or an hour, the intro call. Where if you're just taking a list and you're like, okay, I want to figure this out. I want to figure this out. I want to figure this out. You don't necessarily need to figure it all out while you're on the phone with the person. But if you look at that as sort of the opportunity to expand your knowledge of whatever that program, advertising platform, or whatever else is, and then you sort of have a hit list that you chip away at over the next couple of weeks, I think you can learn a lot quicker than you probably realize. I think the danger is you kind of get paralyzed because oh my God, it's too complex. There's too many variables. There's this, there's that. The idea isn't to, kind of do the entire puzzle in one sitting. It's to start to learn to see where the pieces are and then line up the edges. And eventually, piece by piece, you start to have a good and robust understanding of how something works.
Perfect. Right. Any other questions? Let's see.
I think that's it.
Let's see, I guess. It was a nice live call. Oh, there we go. Gotcha. Okay. It was good. Anything to add?
I think I would just add that, the AOP Plus Facebook group is obviously an amazing source for, for any questions, any sort of like requests for help or just any advice. I think the community there really loves to help. We are happy to help anyone there understand and sort of navigate through this whole thing, and help and share some of the ways that we've, achieved our successes with it. I think it's important to do some research also, just to educate yourselves on whether it's, if I'm the marketing person, so I'm like going to say, hey, research marketing strategies, just Google best practices Facebook campaigns, and you'll get like a very summarized, tutorial of how to get those set up. Like, make it easy for yourself. You don't have to go through classes or anything for all that. But I mean, you can simply just find the information specifically for what you're trying to do, and sort of be resourceful in that way and really think outside of the box when it comes to being creative on how you get your resources. You might think it's just you and yourself, or maybe you and your friend as a partner in this business, but really there's a lot of different resources available. It's just a matter of how you sort of handle that.
We use so many resources, and like Matt said, a lot of them are free. Yeah, I mean, it's really true. I mean, they're just free, and we just talk to people, and don't be afraid. you know, there's like an adage of people being afraid to like share. I don't want to give up equity. I want to be my own, you know, own it myself. Well, we all know 100% of nothing, right, is nothing. So if you could find someone to strategic partner with that has a skill set that you don't have, so that you can grow something and give up half, you know, who cares, right? Or give up a percentage, or you know, find a friend's kid that knows how to do SEO or likes doing graphics, or all these kids that have iPad Pros now with the pencil and you know, and the doodle programs. You'd be shocked. You know, send them some pictures and they can doodle over it the way Paul found someone to do for, you know, a couple dollars an image on Upwork. It's just don't think it's easy. It's not easy, and whether it's masks or some other category, e-commerce works. I mean, right? I mean, look at the biggest people in the biggest companies in the world now are e-commerce companies.
And I'll also, I guess, leave this to two pieces of advice would be, one, look at what some of the other mass brand retailers are out there. Look at what we're doing. You know, try to like have that inspire you, for you to think about the things that you want to do for your brand and business as well. We look to some of the companies out there, like the ones that we see a lot on ads, Mission, Electric Styles, etc. They're all trying to figure this out too. But we're also seeing if there's something cool that is working for them, what is it, something that we can do that you know, could complement that, or something that we can come up with our own, and also kind of use the same type of strategy. So I would say it's not necessary to reinvent the wheel if there's already successes that you can easily formulate your own from. And then the last thing too, I would say, is really think about the customer experience on your website. A lot of the data is being pulled by Shopify. There's a thing there that's called search terms. So you already know what your customers are looking for. You can look in that and say, okay, well, that's my next design for the face mask. Really think about their experience throughout the entire process of, if they find you online, if they find you on search engines, if they find you on social, that when they click through, how are they seeing your product? What are the things that stand out? What are the, you know, features and sort of all the messaging that needs to be shown to them? Is it something that's easily seen? Is it something that they can easily access? And then think about that in terms of like, what is going to make them confident about buying from you? Is it the photos? What do you need to fix? What do you need to improve? You know, always make sure that there's, you know, a mission that you have, sort of you're kind of like working towards, a goal that you're working towards, and then kind of like just chip at it every other day.
Beautiful advice, amazing, honestly.
I love that. All right, Tiger, this will live for other people. Where, on Facebook, so we can share it?
It's already recording on Facebook page, Facebook group, YouTube channel. We're gonna email the link to all our users as well, and I'm put as an announcement on the group as well, because it's a wonderful. I know it's a bit long, sorry for everyone, but the information you guys shared is amazing. I mean, it's impossible to put it in a half an hour call. So it's like an amazing resource, and I'm going to email to all users this session, and hopefully we can do a couple of more another time. What do you think?
Absolutely, absolutely, good.
Definitely.
Yeah, I learned just from talking to them, so it's fine.
I think too, people, whether it's on the group trail or on the thread, but if there's other things you want to learn about, or there's other challenges, like, you don't just have to ask questions in sessions. We could, you know, let's keep a hit list and we can address them the next time we get together and do this. And, you know, so that can work as well.
Fantastic.
All right, guys, thanks.
Thank you so much for everyone. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for everyone who's watching us already, and enjoy your Friday.
Bye, guys.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.